Welcome back to Let's Talk Business. My name is Maria Medina. I'm your networking and business coach. And today I am joined by Emily, who I met randomly at a networking event here in California when I first moved to California. And I tell you this, Emily, I went to that one maybe twice in the whole span of the year where I met you, and you were one of the connections that I made. So I'm really glad to have you here because it is truly the power of networking. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, I'll say that that particular meeting was very serendipitous because there were two meetings. I had accidentally got myself to California for another workshop and I was there a day early. I never do this. I'm the detail queen. And so anyway, I had a day to burn. I thought I'll just go to a networking meeting. I had two to choose from. And I heard very distinctly in my mind this one, and that was where we met. So it was very serendipitous. Um, yeah, I'm Emily Guderian. I'm based in Gilbert, Arizona, and my business is Built to be Visible Pro Organizing. It is an organizing business first and foremost, but it is a very different kind of organizing business in that in a former life before I started my business, I was an emotional release facilitator. And it turns out that organizing and emotional release are not just connected, they are causal in their relationship. And that's something I found out after I started my business, but it's the thing that makes my business very different today.
And it's one of the reasons why it has been so easy to refer people to you. And I always tell this whenever I'm in a conversation and I'm networking with somebody and they're like, oh, who can I introduce you to, Maria? Like, who do you want to know? I always say, give me somebody that does either something super unique or they service somebody like a particular industry, or they have a particular product or service that is really unique, because the moment that that need comes up, it's so much easier to recollect. So the moment that anybody was talking about organizing but in a different level, like, I just don't want somebody to come in and organize my space. I want them to figure out why it's disorganized in the first place. And it was so easy to just start sending those introductions your way.
Right. And usually by the time people are calling an organizer, they've done this and then it's come back and then they've done it again and they're just overwhelmed and usually quite frustrated. Like there's a little bit of resentment, perhaps, maybe even anger connected to that whole thing because they're sick of it. Why are we having this problem again? I just cleared this up. So that's what I address. And it turns out that people know how to manage their things unless there's something that keeps them stuck. And almost always, and I'm a little nerd at heart, I've been collecting my own data since client number one. It is an emotion. It is a negative emotion that's stuck, and it ends up being a driver, a governing force behind behaviors, including cluttering behavior. So when we release whatever that emotion is, that's the trigger, and it'll change the behavior. And people can hold on to whatever systems we put in place for them. It's fascinating. It's transformative, and it's very cool and interesting. If, that's my wheelhouse, but I think it's very cool and interesting how a single emotion is the thing that governs a whole lifetime of behavior. It's fascinating.
So much that's holding us back just from like our thoughts, from our past experiences, and a lot of us fight against discovering that, fearing that is going to be painful through go to go through that experience, to let go of that experience, and rather keep on, like, keep that excuse and say, oh, I'm just not very organized, I'm not good at waking up early in the morning, I'm not good at this. And we'd rather hold on to that excuse and actually put in the work to figure out what's actually happening.
But those belief systems, they spill over into other aspects of life. Like if the belief is I'm lazy and that's why I've got clutter, well, that spills over into work, that spills over into relationships, that spills over into almost every aspect of life. Or if the belief is I don't know how, I was never taught, then that too is going to show up. So these we like to segment and compartmentalize our habits, our life, and I'm finding there's crazy interconnectivity. There's interrelationships. There is no such thing as this little section of my life and this little section of my life, and the two never cross. They there's mad crossover.
In everything. As you were talking, and I can't remember the quote right now, but Doctor Who comes to mind where he says, like, everything is interwobbly and we're all interconnected.
For sure. Well, and I guess that explains what happens. So after we do, a massive organizing project, I've had situations where we find that emotion that's connected to the clutter, and then we release it. And so the ability to hold on to the system, that's enhanced like exponentially. But then it shows up in other aspects of life where entrepreneurs get new clients, new contracts, more business. Relationships start to change, maybe even heal. Money comes in. I've even had one person that was just so bothered by the road rage that they always had. We organized their space and the road rage went away. So you just never know how it spills over, that whatever that emotion was, you never know how it spills over. It's pretty cool.
I'm not going to share this video with my wife because I have severe road rage and I know she'll be like, you need to talk to him.
Yeah, like organize your space and maybe the road rage goes away. It's just fascinating. And I never know how it's gonna be. You just never know how it's gonna be. I've even had somebody like we organize their space and they lose weight. You just never know. It's fascinating.
Yeah, you just don't know what everything's tied to.
And I don't know either. It's not like I'm sitting here and I'm going to tell you this is how we do, and if you do this, then this will happen. I never know either. I just listen to their stories, collect the data, and marvel at the possibility of incorporating this emotional release in organizing. It's a new thing. I've talked to organizers in my own state, and I think I broke their brains when I was, offering up this premise that, look, it's not therapy you need, it's just a little emotional release, like no big deal.
I love that. And I love that. I'm sure you have a lot of stories from people sharing their successes of what you did. So, if you were to look at your journey so far, what would you say your biggest success has been?
My biggest success, and this is always evolving. Truly, my success is the success of my clients and to see things opening up. But I think my biggest success personally is um, allowing these changes. Um, it, how these changes show up in people's lives, it's kind of opened up my own perspective. And honestly, the thing that I think I experience the most is grace and mercy for people, where I don't sit in judgment. My eyes have been open, my perspective has changed, and that feels like a success for me because I'm seeing those changes for myself. And the truth is, for every client that I've had, I've made myself the client 100 times over. Like this work that I do with people, I do for myself, and I think maybe that's my biggest success is that it's changing me as well as helping other people. So I'm selfish. It's about me. I made it about me, and it's working. It's kind of fun.
I think what you'll find is that you enjoy helping other people, and the benefit is that you improve yourself from it, right?
That's part of it, sure. But I am doing the work for myself. Yeah, there's absolutely that element to be on the ground level when somebody, it's not just change, it's transformation. And to be on the ground floor and partner with somebody in that type of personal um, launch pad, springboard type of change, there's no words to describe that kind of reward. And I do get emotional when I think about some of the changes and the cool things that have happened to my clients since we've done these organizing projects. And I know it's the emotional release, but yeah, to partner with people in that way is it's hugely rewarding. And I'll make a joke of it, but it is very personal. It is, there's no words. There's no words to describe that type of partnership.
I find that a lot when I'm coaching a client, and then all of a sudden you see them pause, you see them think about what you said or what you asked in a different way, and you realize this person has never been asked this before. out of everything that they're doing, they're now realizing something because of this conversation we're having. And then when they have that breakthrough or that aha moment or that realization, they're like, wow, and all from one question or all from one sentence that just sparks something in them. It is extremely powerful and it is extremely gratifying to be able to give that to somebody.
Right. And in that moment, you're not just coaching businesses, you're changing lives, you're coaching lives. Yeah. I understand in a way that I didn't even just a few years ago.
And as a fellow entrepreneur, I know there's other people going into business don't like to share it, but for every success, there has probably been 10, 20, 30 failures. So, what challenges, errors, lessons, what would you say has been your greatest challenge so far, and how did you overcome it, or how are you overcoming it if you're going through it right now?
I'm going through it right now, and my biggest challenge has been delegating. I have an engineering education. The whole premise behind engineering is there's a problem to be solved, and you're going to solve it. And that's not what is partnered with success in entrepreneurship. It is not how I solve the problem. It is who I find to help me solve the problem. And I think that has been the biggest challenge is overcoming that belief system. It is an ingrained belief system, and I think I have a thing going with time where I think one job is going to take 10 minutes. And then not only does that job not take 10 minutes, it takes an hour. And then it spawns like seven more jobs that take way more time than I'm budgeting for. So those two things, those are my biggest challenges in entrepreneurship. And I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I think that's probably the journey. Like you never get to a place where you've got it all figured out because the game changes. You get to a certain level, the game changes. So yeah, the game has changed. I figured out whatever level I was at before. It's changed, and now I'm in that. Okay, okay, something's gonna show up. I know it will, or somebody's gonna show up.
One of the best advice my wife gave me when I bought my first business was be prepared to make one mistake a day. And coming from, I came from data, I came from analysis, I came from you fix your systems, you have to know how things are done and then you can execute to perfection. Knowing that I was going to make a mistake every day was extremely scary, but the moment that I realized, ha, this is a mistake I can learn from, and this is my mistake for the day. It was so liberating to say, okay, what next? That's fine. That happened and it's going to continue to happen. What's going to happen next? And when you were mentioning delegating, when you were mentioning time management, these are all things that small business owners struggle with, and we feel like we're struggling with it in isolation. That's why I always tell people, if you're struggling with something, go find the business community. You're a BNIer, go tell somebody in BNI, go tell somebody at the chamber, go have honest conversations with other small business owners, which is why it's one of the questions in the series. What is a challenge? How are you dealing with it? So that we can all share in the challenges that we're all, at one point or another, we're all going through the same things.
And yeah, and there's something to be said for that because even though I have voiced some of this, and even though the solution has not come, when somebody in your community or somebody that you admire for whatever they've accomplished in their business community, when you can get somebody to go, oh yeah, I remember that, or I understand, or I get it, there's something that is really comforting and yet empowering in just the acknowledgement of whatever your struggle is. The problem's still going. Nobody solved that problem, but just to be able to get somebody go, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that landed in a good way for me. It's like, okay, I'm not inept. I'm not an imposter. This is the kind of stuff that everybody's had to experience at one point or another, or, continues to experience. So yeah, the community is important.
Yeah, and that's why you'll find. So I have a free resources section on my website, and if you go there, I'm sure you will find one about managing your time. You'll find one about how to delegate. There'll be ones that everybody's gone through, and there's a resource out there for you. And it's a question of, even if you go to Google, which one is the right one for me? And entrepreneurship is all about trial and error. It's all about, what, let me see if this works. No, it doesn't. Let me move on to the next one. That's what I'm saying. For everyone's success, there's going to be 20 to 30 mistakes or lessons that you learn along the way.
Right. And reframing mistakes is hugely important too, because where mistakes and maybe another phase of life, another version of who you were, mistakes were failure. Mistakes are just the process. And so when you can reframe even that belief system around what a mistake is or what you should do when mistakes happen, that becomes a big pivotal thing in business as well. As reframing mistakes. It's just the prior iteration, right or wrong, whatever. It's just the prior iteration.
Yeah, yeah. For you, it was probably a system failure. For me, originally, a mistake was the other team scoring a goal.
Yeah, yeah. And clearly it couldn't be just there had to be a breakdown. If they scored, then there had to be a breakdown. And yeah, just eliminating the fact that that was a breakdown has been powerful for me. It's not a breakdown, it's just what happens.
And it's that analysis of what happened, what went wrong, how can we fix it, how can we go move forward from this, and it's okay, we'll take it as a learning opportunity. Apart from that mindset portion of how you have to approach entrepreneurship and being open to that growth, is there anything that you wish you would have known before you started your own business?
There's a lot. I I think it's really important to align quickly with someone who can be in a mentor role. I was in business for almost a year before I connected with somebody who is a mentor to me, and so the idea that you can figure it out yourself, you can do it all yourself. That's maybe you can, but at what cost? What's going to fall by the wayside for you to hit that goal. So mentor, finding somebody who can teach you, is, that was a mistake I made early on. I didn't bring that person in very quick. I had to twist in the wind a little bit before I brought somebody in. You know, now I know.
I like that because I luckily stumbled upon somebody. So I bought, my first business was a print shop, and one of the first things that I had to do was get an ITIN so that I could get an EIN and all these business things and acronyms that I had no idea what I was doing. And so I decided I need an accountant to help me with this. I found an accountant, and lo and behold, they used to own a print shop. So it was a miracle because they knew the terms, they knew everything. So every time I had a question that was like accounting slash print, I was like, Terry, can you help me? Steve, because it was a husband and wife team. And I was like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And if I didn't have them to ask these questions that were so specific to the industry that I was in, I don't know how I would have succeeded. And this is what I teach people when it comes to networking. Surround yourself with the people that are going to help lift your business, but you're lifting theirs at the same time. So as much as, yeah, we're learning from our mentors, we also want to feed back other people. So see about you as being a mentor yourself.
Yeah. And I don't think it was an accident either. And that's the other thing I've had to learn is just to trust in the universe. And, I deal with emotions. I'm very much in the energetic space. And yeah, I'm over here in right brain logic world or left brain logic world with, systems or whatever. But to just allow whoever to drop into your circle to drop into your circle and allow those relationships to be what they can be without defining it ahead of time, or oh, this person doesn't know anything about my industry, so and you're just going to set them aside. Like, people drop into your circles for a reason, and usually you don't find that reason until later on. So just to trust the process, to trust the universe. Usually if we're in entrepreneurship, it's because there was a call, if you will, that little inner voice or perhaps something else that just kind of pushed you into that. So yeah, you got to trust that what you need to run that business, what you need to grow that business, is going to come into your world, into your sphere.
Luckily, mine wasn't the outer voice of my wife saying, you can do better. You can be a little bit better."
I think that's spiritual as well because that's who you're connected to, and that person's going to hear things and see things that you won't see that are absolutely necessary. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And you're the second person where this book has come up because my wife always recommends it and I need to read it again. And last week I mentioned it, and it's a book. I don't know if you've read it. It's called The Seven People You Meet in Heaven.
Oh yeah, I do know that book.
And every time everybody talks about, there's certain people that come into your life and you don't know the impact. Like, you don't realize either the impact that you have on their lives or that they have in yours. And it's all about that, because being open to what's happening, not letting it happen to you, but just paying attention and being mindful of how you can help others and others can help you in return, and being open to what they have to offer.
Right. Well, and that defines you and I because that was a chance meeting. There was no expectation that I had about that meeting other than I just, had that little inner voice, go to this one. And yet you've introduced me to some people that have really had some impact and influence on what's happening with me personally and in my business. So, yeah, the people that drop into your sphere, that's that's intentional and perhaps guided by something, bigger or greater than us. But yeah, we meet who we're meant to meet. We're connected with who we're meant to connect with, and all of these things they can combine to be something that serves people in a really powerful and unique way. That's business.
I always joke, but not really, when I say I live by vibes. Like, I can tell if somebody's gonna be like a good addition to this circle, and then somebody will feel a certain way, and then I'm like, oh my god, this person that I just met, you just have to meet each other. And I get that sense, and I feel that that's why everybody's like, "How are you so good at connecting people?"
Because you're trusting in something that's kind of beautiful. I'm telling you, I've experienced your reliance on the vibes. I've experienced that firsthand. Like, thank you, Maria. That's been amazing.
I'm glad my vibes have served you. So I was mentioning the book, which brings me to my next question, which would be, if there was a struggling entrepreneur out there, is there a resource that you would recommend to them? Whether it's a book, a podcast, a person.
Yeah, I think with this question, I'm going to be the anti-entrepreneur. Everything about my business, this was not the business I planned on. It wasn't a business that I planned on doing. I was a homemaker in a previous life, and as I'm, pondering and meditating on what's next for me, um, after the children grew up, because yeah, that's what they did and that's what I planned for, but then it landed a certain kind of way. Then the business idea came to me, then the business name came to me, and the business model came to me, and all of this other stuff. So um, I'm finding for myself, because everything about my business is unique, that looking to set how somebody else has done it kind of knocks me up a little bit. So I'm in a process of kind of unpacking from conventional wisdom or even non-conventional wisdom and kind of going inward for answers. I do have a book called A Course in Miracles, and I find that this is a really good resource for the practice of going inward to receive the information I need that's particular, specific, and unique to what I'm doing. I can't find anybody in the country, I can't find anybody in the world that combines the emotional release with the organizing in the way that I do. And so trying to emulate what else is out there in my industry and maybe even tangentially related to my industry, it's kind of knotted me up a little bit. So pulling back and going inward through meditation, through prayer, um, Course in Miracles, that's a nice little way to learn how to do that. Has That's been the biggest game changer for me in business.
Thanks for sharing. I knew you were going to come with something that was other, that was different. I was excited for that question because a lot of the time it is, you're right. It's, you know, what are other people reading? What are other people, but it's, we rarely go inward. We rarely ask ourselves because, and that's sort of the epitome of coaching. And it's the belief that the only reason I'm able as a coach to help you is because you had it in you the whole time.
I'm still learning that message. But I'm building something that hasn't been built before. So to have somebody else tell me how, or to look to outside sources to answer that question how, it's end up being the most counterproductive thing I can do. So in desperation, I closed the books. And now my research and my study is quiet. It's prayer, it's meditation, it's pondering, and it's a notebook. Like whatever is running through my head, I'm going to write it down. Some of it is just totally random stuff that's running through my head, and that becomes easily recognizable. Over, I can look at that and go, I don't know what happened there, Emily, but that is not inspiration. You can comfortably like set that aside. But some of the other things that I write down that I'm not even really tracking when I go back and read it, it is profound. It is highly specific and exactly the next step for whatever has come up in business. So there is a book. It's by Peter Block. I think that's the author. It's called The Answer to How is Yes. So, and I kind of, that's my premise. Nobody has built yet what I am building in my business. So, looking to outside sources has become a pinch point. So, I'm doing something different. I'll let you know how it goes.
I like that. I like the sound of this book because this is exactly how I started my entrepreneurship journey, and it was say yes and then figure it out later.
Yeah, and that very much is kind of like my mantra in business. I don't know how to do this. I was a homemaker for the love. Like, what do I know about building a business? And yet, the instruction to create this business was profound and unmistakable. So here we go. I'm figuring it out as we go, and back into the world of trusting. The information that I need when I need it will be there. So far, I'm hanging in. Like I'm coming up on my fourth birthday for my business in March, which is actually my birthday. I did that on purpose.
Oh, congrats. I can't wait.
Yeah, I started my business on my birthday. LLC paperwork filed on that day. So I always remember.
That's amazing. Well, I can't wait for you to celebrate many more. And then eventually you'll be training all these other people so that there is no disorder in this world.
That's the goal. And not only not disorder, but a little bit more peace and comfort and grace and mercy and lack of judgment for oneself. The little adult within us is mean. Like if you can silence that voice, that's a win. That's a win in life. So that's the goal for sure.
Awesome. We're coming to an end, and I would love to ask what's a fun fact that you'd like to share with our audience so we can end on that note?
A fun fact. I used to be in a motorcycle gang.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's so cool.
I was in a motorcycle gang with my husband. Early years of marriage, we had a Honda Goldwing. So it was those big touring bikes. And our gang, at the time, they were all senior citizens. We were the youngest ones. They loved us.
What was the name? What was on your back, at the back of your jacket?
TRA.
TRA. What does that stand for?
Temple Riders Association. They would just ride to temples. That's what they did.
I love that. That is such a fun fact. I can't. Well, I'm gonna now have to ask you for a picture so that we can feature it in the blog.
I don't know. I have pictures of the bike. I don't know if I have pictures of us on the bike. I'll have to go look for those. But we had to retire the bike. There was a near miss in a motorcycle accident in 2019, and that's it. Like message received. I'm not going to do that anymore. Yeah, red light runner and a motorcycle.
Talk about listening to the universe.
Yeah, and within it was microseconds between life and death. So message received.
Oh boy. I'm still not showing this video to my wife because I'm still trying to convince her that I want a motorbike.
out in the country, and the big ones are the way to go. Well, I have, the truth is I've had it both. Like I did have the bike, and then, I don't have the bike, and so I did both. They're kind of fun. They're pretty fun.
They look a lot of fun. That's why I want one. If anybody does want to reach back out to you, get in touch, whether it's personal or business, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
There's a couple ways to reach me. My website, builttobevisible.com, and there's a little button where you can push and you can get a hold of me. Their consultations are always free. You can reach me with a DM on my social media. It's at Built to Be Visible.
Thank you so much for being here today and for the time it took.
Thank you for the invite. I love visiting with you.
I always love our conversations. And to our listeners slash viewers, thank you for watching Let's Talk Business. I hope to catch you on the next one.